Okay, I'm going to try to talk a little bit about installations and inspections, and I guess we could probably talk 2 or 3 weeks on that because most of us have been doing it for a long time. Probably.
The sessions will be starting. Installation is in Brazos. Drip is in McLennan. Installation is in Brazos. Drip is in McLennan.
Okay. I'm Raymond Scott, and from Canton, Van Zant County, and we do a lot of work in Van Zant and surrounding counties. Canton is halfway between Dallas and Tyler, if you don't know where Van Zant County is. And we have a lot of sand in the southern part and a lot of clay in the northern part of the county. And the things we talk about today may fit your county to some extent, but it surely won't be like we have very little, almost no rock. So it may be different in other places. First thing I really want to talk about would be professionalism. And just for a minute, I know that's not installing and inspections, but it is in a way. We have people call us all the time. Well, I tried to call you, nobody answered. I left a message, nobody called back. We have a lady there from 8 till 12 or 1, another lady there from about 11 till about 4:30, and I don't know how they call and not get an answer, but they say they do. If you don't have that phone manned, you're going to miss some work. You'll get a bad reputation. A lot of things that are not very profitable in the end. Call people back. A lot of them say, I called, left a message, no one called back. Sometimes you may wish you hadn't, but most of the time you need to call them back. Again, your reputation, whether you're a good installer or bad installer or whatever, to a great degree depends upon you communicating with your customers or would-be customers. High quality work. Most of the things that I'll talk about involve the quality of work. And you need to really do a high quality work, smooth that thing up, install it where it will not have a lot of future problems, because believe me, one unhappy customer does more damage than 10 or 20 happy customers. So high quality work is important, and if you do high quality work, you can charge reasonably high prices. We have raised our prices several times. We did a few months ago. We have more work today than we did before we raised the prices. Not one complaint. As far as I know, we haven't lost any jobs at all. So I don't really think raising prices to a reasonable amount, there's nothing wrong with it. But you got to do top quality work to justify the prices. We go back and smooth up. It's in the contract at least once. We go back and smooth up after it settles. I've gone out to some that others have put in, and They settled, and some of them are a foot, 2 foot deep where they've settled. And the customer's not happy. They wouldn't recommend you again. So high quality work goes with reasonable prices. In our area, the prices vary over about 50 miles, probably $1,500 to $2,000 difference in prices. Southern Van Zant, Henderson County, Smith County, prices are pretty low. Rockwall County, Hunt County, Rockwall County, up in that area, the prices are $1,500 to $2,000 more for the same system. But permits are also higher up there. Permits are like $360 in our county, and they're like $500 in Rockwall County. So there's a reason to charge higher prices. Also, on professionalism, have a good working relationship with your DR. I mean, almost a buddy-buddy friendship. It makes a big difference in everything you do related to septic work. You can call him for advice. He'll go out of his way to help you. Visit your representative, your commissioners. Visit your commissioners. Talk to them. Tell those commissioners how much money you pay the county. In fact, when I found out how much we paid the county, I almost fell over. They take in a lot of money from permits, $25 every time you renew a septic contract, and it adds up to a pretty large amount. You can easily pay the county $20,000, $30,000, $60,000, $80,000 a year, each one of you. Kind of shocking that you pay that much. So the county commissioners will back the DR will back you, and it all works a lot better. If you're fighting problems where you want to clean up a system and your DR doesn't back you, the commissioners doesn't back him, you got problems. And the only way you can cure them is to work with those people, visit with those people, talk with those people, tell them how much money you pay them. They'll listen. Installation, that's what we're supposed to be talking about, I guess. Conventional, there's a lot of different conventionals. There's infiltrators, there's pipe and rock, and there's, what do they call it, geosynthetic aggregate, easy flow. Probably our county is 98, 99% aerobic spray. And a few around the lakes are aerobic drips. Very few conventionals because of restrictions like small lots, clay within 2 or 3 feet of the top of the ground, a lot of mottled clay. And then the northern part of the county is just clay to the top of the ground. So we put in mostly, probably 98, 99% aerobic spray. The low pressure dosage, we have just about quit putting them in. We found grassroots stop them up terribly. I saw a picture in a Farm Ranch magazine. The roots, they dug down 11 feet for coastal Bermuda grass roots. It's kind of shocking. 11 feet. Well, Bermuda grass, any grass, weeds, trees, stop up those little 1/8 inch holes and your LPD doesn't work. Recently we dug off, someone else put it in, we dug off the ends of the pipes. We dug up 3 pipes, cut them off, and put a new pump in so we'd be sure we had plenty of pressure, and it would not. It would not pump any water at all through the pipes. Couldn't flush it. Pump wouldn't push it through. One fellow told me last night that he just drills new holes in the pipes. But if they're stuffed with roots, it's not going to work. If you drill holes or cut trenches in it, it's still not going to work. We've turned down jobs on LPDs. That where there's clay, we're just not going to put them in. Customer's going to end up being unhappy, give us a bad name. I'd rather lose the job. There seems to be plenty of jobs now anyway for us, at least in our area. And I'm sure it's that way all over the state pretty much. The aerobic drips, we have one guy, Alan, who handles the aerobic drips. And there's a lot to learn. If you haven't put drips in, well, there's a lot to learn about them. And you really need someone who knows what he's doing or really studies the thing. Transits. I personally know two installers who do not have a transit, never have had. One of them spent his whole life and career and recently retired, never owned a transit. He was good at digging holes, but sometimes they're 1 foot or 2 foot too deep. So if it's just 1 foot too deep, that's 2 6-inch risers on every lid. Cost him money. And it keeps on costing money. You need to own a transit, your own transit. And we recently bought one, rotary laser transit. One guy operates it. You don't have to get off the backhoe every 10 minutes and shoot the grate again. And when you're trying to get the hole flat on the bottom and all level, so the tank will be level when you set it in and right on the money so you have the fall in the pipe, you don't have to get off the backhoe and shoot it and shoot it and shoot it. Or just dig it 2 foot too deep and go on. It'll pay. It'll pay. And you won't be near as tired as climbing on off that backhoe. We put a pump tank in. I know the guy didn't use a transit because we had to put a pump tank in to pump the sewage up the hill to the aerobic system. It was over 1 foot uphill. We see them that's turned sideways, it's not level. If that big old boom sets that tank in that hole, he needs to be level when he sets it down. If he sets it down with one end low and moves it, he digs a hole. Now you're going to get a tank that's probably unlevel. He can pick it back up and you can smooth it out again and get him to set it down flat in that hole. It's just not worth having a tank that's not in there right. If you need to dig it out a little more, if you didn't shoot it right, If you had a level and you looked at the wrong line on that level and you got it just off, raise it up. Tell him to raise it up. It won't take but just a few minutes. Get that thing in there right. Oh, the wires and the pump pipe where you have a union, if it has a union, and the ones that don't are 3 feet deep down in a hole. And when you're trying to unscrew that union or cut that pipe or redo the wires or pull out that pump, and it's 3 feet down, and I mean a good 3 feet, down in a hole, and you're laying there with trying to get both arms in there, you know what I mean. It's hard to do. And that lid's cutting you in two, and you're not very happy about the guy that put it in. Oh. Get it in there right. Don't set it so deep. Bring your unions and your wires and things up to where you can service the thing. You can maintain it and replace pumps and inspect it and redo the wires. Get them up there where you can reach them. In fact, we put all of our ties for our pumps and all of our floats, switches, we put them up in a little 6x6x4 J box about so high above the ground, and we just open it up and take them apart. We can test and bypass the pump switch, float switch, and see if the pump works right there without getting our hands down in there. If it's down in there, water's going to get up in the wires. I don't think I've ever opened a J box down inside a tank that wasn't full of water. I mean, really, I don't think I ever in my life have. And I've opened a bunch of them. Oh, it's unsightly, that box sitting up there a little bit, but wires and pipes that are way down, account for it. Make measurements. Boy, it makes inspections and maintenance a lot easier. Oh. There's a lot of things about doing a professional job. Oh, I'll skip to the middle, disconnect. I've almost died once and got really hit hard a second time because there was no disconnect. And whoever installed it wired around the breaker. They wired around the breaker. Dumb me, let my finger get up on the screwdriver, and I was on my knees. And it seemed like an extremely long time. And when I finally fell over, it broke the connection. And then I couldn't breathe the rest of the day. The next morning before I could take a breath again. Oh, somebody's going to die someday because there's no disconnects. Oh, there's just $15 or so. Put in a disconnect. If there's not one there, put it in. It's just not worth the chance. If a good lawyer, somebody could come back and there could be a terrible lawsuit. Because the code says it's supposed to have a disconnect. We were talking about a minute ago about professionalism and about pipes being uphill and all this kind of thing. All that refers to professionalism, doing a professional job. Oh. All of you have been putting in septics a long time. I'll bet you half of the people in here probably don't know what the trajectory angle is for a spray head. It's 13 degrees. It's in the Installer 2 manual. But things like that you read when you're taking the class and probably never read again. But you really ought to know. Because I see sprayers spray heads all over the place, spraying 5, 6 foot high. Well, so what? Well, it also says in that manual that spray, you got to be careful about the spray hitting people. And the mist. Those things mist, and it's dangerous. And it's in the manual. You passed the course, you got your license, and now you are responsible. It's a liability you should be aware of. And you're going to see more and more and more lawsuits about everything in the world. And somebody get a hold of that when somebody gets sick. Oh, clean out to the tank. A little clean out to the tank. 8 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet, whatever. When we're digging that hole, if we take the transit and we shoot that clean out, we know how deep we're going to put the tank, how far out it is, so how deep it is. There's no need to dig that ditch a foot or 2 foot deeper than it needs to be. And it's pretty important because I've seen them that they dig the ditch way too deep. Well, it's only 10 feet or whatever. Put the pipe in, and when they go to cover up, they get a big scoop of dirt, and they dump it in the ditch, and the pipe does this. And you open the first lid, and the sanitary tee is trying to push off the lid. It's bolted up like that. Last week we dug one up, and they used SDR pipe, and it had a SDR coupling. And it broke the coupling. And every 2 or 3 weeks, the guy was having problems, just backing up on him. We now use Schedule 40, 3 or 4 inch, whichever it needs to be. And we try not to put any couplings at all between that clean out and that tank. Look at that first lid the next few months and see how many you see that are bowed up. Because when that pipe bows, that sanitary tee in that tank comes up. You'll see a lot. There's the clean out, I was thinking about it, there's a chlorinator tablet dispenser, and it has usually a little square top on it. You can twist it off, the lid, to put chlorine in. We were getting some calls, this a long time ago, we were getting some calls, smell in the house. Go out there, and sure enough, there'd be a little smell. Well, the tank is sealed. The pump puts 2 or 3 pounds of pressure in that tank. The P-trap gets a little dry somewhere and bubbles, and it should go up the vent. But it doesn't always. Sometimes anything from a squirrel in the vent or whatever bubbles through a P-trap. Just go ahead and vent it. Right there, drill some little holes in that square cap. We just put a drill in and stick about 4 holes, one on each side of that little cap, and it vents it. And hopefully bugs won't crawl in there because of the chlorine, if they keep chlorine in it. Another thing, like setting the floats. Some of the designers give you a page of specifications how to set those floats. We don't pay much attention to those, but you should. They should be set to dose so much. We try to set them high enough. Most people set them high enough that they'll be above the intake on the pump, and they won't overlap with the alarm float. if they do the overlap, that alarm flow starts coming up, it may go off. And every now and then, if they come unfastened, the alarm float may drop down a little, and that'll be going off, and you'll have to go out there and redo it. But especially important in LPDs when you have a dosing. You want to dose it for a certain amount of water. It's real important. Okay, inspections. Well, there's real estate inspections, and then there's the maintenance contract inspections. I saw a truck out in the lot that the guy does real estate inspections. He inspects the septic systems, I guess, for real estate. Well, we tried that for a while, and it worked out okay. We didn't get sued, but I have a friend that got sued twice. And it cost him about $2,000, he said, both times, although he had insurance. And he ended up paying, he said, both times about $2,000. A bunch of questions come up if you're doing it for real estate. I don't know how many of you do that, but questions like, is that lid cracked? Is that tank cracked? You have to pump it out. Take a picture with a cell phone inside of it. And also check your aerobic tanks if there's any question at all. Check your aerobic tanks. Take a picture inside with a cell phone. It'll show you if it's cracked. Shows real well. We've been having some. Are you, as a customer or the real estate person, going to pay? Well, one time we didn't get paid. It didn't close. We had a deal where we'd go out for like $250, and we'd give them a kind of a look over, I guess the best thing. Dump about 200 or 300 gallons of water in there, and if it took it, well, we said it was working at the time, etc. But we didn't know if the tanks were cracked. We didn't know if the lids were cracked. We didn't, and you say it works, and it doesn't. 2 people lived in it, 5 or 8 move in it. Too many variables. How much lateral line does it have, and so on. So I don't know, but if I were going to continue to do real estate inspections, I would really look at it hard, and I'd certainly be insured. We added a few items to the regular inspection sheet that our maintenance providers and technicians use. Probably could have gotten by forever with just what the state had on their farm originally. But we added, starting in control box corrosion. Some of those things get so corroded. We have had, I think, 2 that I know of catch fire. One of them burnt the box almost completely up. Could have burned the house down. But that's one that we thought was, can y'all see that okay? So another one is the air filter. We try to, if they're pretty clean, we may dust them out, but most of the time we put another filter in, and that filter, I don't know, costs $3 to $4. And we order them pretty large quantities. The $3 or $4, that's okay until you do 1,000 of them. It's $3,000 or $4,000. That's something that should be in your price for your maintenance contract, and they really should be replaced or cleaned. If it's not spraying, the radius of the sprinklers are not going as far as you think they should. You may need to pull that pump, clean the screen, and of course the K-Rain sprinklers have the little filter in them, and you might check those and clean them. I've never found a place to order those filters. I've asked for them, and those that go in the sprinkler in the bottom. I don't know where you get those. We just throw them out and let them dry. And then sometimes we clean them up. But the pump screen, if it's really dirty looking and needs pumping, get it pumped and then clean the screen, let it start fresh. The sludge level, on the first tank, the trash tank, we take a piece of pipe and put a 90 on it and a little piece of pipe sticking out, and we stick it down into that sludge on top. And you can feel and guess pretty much how deep that sludge is. On the aerobic tank, we sludge judge that, and most of them are made where you can kind of sludge judge, or you can go open the other lid, in which we do, we open the lid anyway. And then we also sludge judge the pump tank. So we can keep pretty good account of when, if it's the intake is 9 inches off the bottom. When it needs pumping, somewhere around 7, 8 inches, it starts sucking the thinner sludge into the pump. Thick enough sludge, you're going to wear on that pump. It'll finally make it go out. But I have seen pumps still working, and they'd be almost solid sludge up to the top of the pump. And they'd still be putting out some sprinkle, maybe not 15 feet, but should be 30, but whatever. But I have seen them with thick sludge completely buried in it. But 7 inches, it'll start sucking some sludge into the pump. 8 or 9 inches, it's sucking sludge. Now, the big deal is, how do you judge how thick that sludge is? Well, if you, again, read that Installer 2 manual, it'll tell you about settling time and all the stuff in there. Basically, you're going to look at it. You're going to reach down there probably on a pipe inside the tank and let that sludge out. And as it runs out on that pipe, how thick is it? You know, and that's a judgment you'll have to make. I don't know any other way to tell. You're not going to spend 30 minutes to let it settle and so on when you got 20 inspections to do that day. So the lid's secure, everybody knows that. We got a fine when that happened because our county didn't know it happened. Our DRs didn't know it. The rules were passed that the tanks' lids had to be secure when we left. After we got a fine from another county, we found out about it and we told our DR, and so it took a while, but did we make any repairs? We don't consider like retying the wires a repair. We call a repair like replacing an air pump, replacing a water pump, replacing a float, something like that's a repair in our way we do it. But some minor little old thing, if we put in something that costs money, then we note it, and that's a repair, an air sensor or something like that. And you need to keep those in stock. I mean, you need to keep a few on hand. A couple of years ago, I had a list of items that should be considered for inspections. I think there was 25 or 30 things. Everything is from is a light bulb burnout. or the red deal cracked. We had a hailstorm the other day, and it cracked a couple of them. There's a lot of things you need to check. And I know you have probably, but boy, I have a lot. Yeah, the last guy, he just run around the house and flipped the switch and ran. One of them told me one day, oh, he just drove up in the driveway. Never got out of his truck. Well, that's back again to professionalism. That gives us all a bad name. With a good name, you can get more money, and that's what most of us really want anyway. Protecting the water, the environment, all that's important, and like Bruce said, we are the stewards of that, and we need to take it seriously. Right now, we have probably 1,000 inspections that we do, maybe a few more, maybe, I don't know how many. We see a lot of stuff, kind of like the insurance ad on TV. The dog jumps up and grabs the pizza, turns the stove on, burns the house down. Well, they know a little because they've seen a lot. Well, you stay in this business very long, and you'll see a lot. Hopefully we'll know a little.